Welcome back to Wrestling Impact, the channel where we bring you every twist, every turn, every heartbreaking moment that the world of professional wrestling throws at us. And today, I need you to stop whatever you are doing right now, because what happened on Monday Night Raw is the kind of moment that nobody saw coming. Nobody was prepared for it. And honestly, after you hear everything that went down, you might need a minute to process it all. So settle in, because this story is bigger than just a wrestling update. This is about a man, his career, and a future that suddenly became uncertain in the most devastating way possible. Now, before we get into everything, I want you to do me a favor. Hit that like button right now, not because I am asking you to, but because the story you are about to hear absolutely deserves it. Subscribe to Wrestling Impact if you have not already, because we are out here every single day bringing you the content that matters most to this community. Now let us get into it. Monday Night Raw, the show that never fails to deliver something unexpected. The crowd was electric, the matches were intense, and everything seemed to be rolling along at a high-octane pace. Fans in the arena were on their feet, the energy was building, and then, just like that, the entire atmosphere shifted. The music stopped. The matches paused. And out walked Adam Pearce, the on-screen general manager of Raw, a man whose presence alone signals that something official and significant is about to be addressed. When Adam Pearce walks out with that look on his face, that serious, measured, no-nonsense expression, every single person in that arena and every fan watching at home knows that whatever is coming next is not going to be good news. And he did not disappoint, unfortunately. What he delivered was one of the most somber, gut-punching announcements that Raw has seen in recent memory, and it involved one of the most physically imposing and emotionally beloved figures on the entire roster. We are talking about Bronson Reed. Monstrous, unstoppable, the man they call the Titanic. A 6'4", 320-pound force of nature who has been turning heads and breaking bodies ever since he made his explosive mark on the main roster. A man who has been building momentum, building his character, and building a fan base that genuinely loves to watch him work. And now, because of something completely out of his control, everything has been put on hold. Adam Pearce stood in that ring, microphone in hand, and he addressed the WWE Universe directly. He spoke with the kind of gravity that you do not hear often in professional wrestling, where everything is usually big, loud, and theatrical. But this was different. This was measured. This was real. And here is essentially what the announcement came down to. Bronson Reed has suffered an injury. A significant injury. The kind that requires time away from the ring, time away from the competition, and time away from everything that Reed has been building toward. The details of the exact injury have been carefully communicated through official channels, and the word from those in the know is that this is not a minor setback. This is the kind of thing that will sideline Reed for a meaningful period of time, and that is a blow not just to him personally, but to the entire Raw brand. Now think about this for a second. Think about where Bronson Reed was in his career trajectory right before this happened. This man was on fire. He had been delivering some of the most physically brutal and visually stunning performances on the entire main roster. Every time his music hit and that enormous frame appeared at the top of the entrance ramp, something inside every fan lit up, because you knew that whatever was about to happen in that ring was going to be violent, it was going to be dramatic, and it was going to leave a mark. Reed had found his groove in a way that feels rare and special in professional wrestling. He had that combination of size, agility, and emotional storytelling in the ring that makes a superstar truly transcendent. He was not just a big man doing big man things. He was a performer who made you feel every single moment. And that splash. Let us talk about that splash for a moment, because if you have never seen Bronson Reed climb to the top rope and come down on an opponent, then you have been missing one of the most breathtaking sights in modern wrestling. A man that size, with that athleticism, launching himself through the air with perfect form, it is the kind of thing that makes you grab the person next to you and shout. It is the kind of thing that creates moments. And those moments are now on pause, and that is genuinely heartbreaking. The backstage reaction, from everything that is filtered through the wrestling community, has been one of sincere concern and deep support. People who work with Bronson Reed, people who share locker rooms and travel schedules and late-night flights with this man, they know what kind of person he is. By all accounts, Reed is one of the most dedicated, most hard-working, and most genuinely passionate performers in that entire locker room. He takes his craft seriously. He puts in the work not just in the ring but in the gym, in the preparation, in the mental commitment to the character and the story he is trying to tell. So when someone like that goes down with an injury, the people around him feel it deeply. And then there are the fans. The WWE Universe, that global community of people who tune in week after week to invest their emotions into these larger-than-life characters and stories. The reaction on social media when the announcement was made was immediate and overwhelming. Fans from all over the world expressed their support, their sadness, and their genuine hopes for a full and speedy recovery. Because that is what happens when a performer truly connects with an audience. When you spend enough time caring about someone's journey, their setbacks become your setbacks too. And right now, there are a lot of wrestling fans out there carrying a little extra weight in their hearts because of this news. Now Adam Pearce, to his credit, handled the announcement with exactly the kind of professionalism and sincerity that you would want from someone in his position. He did not try to dramatize it beyond what it was. He did not use it as a cheap angle or a narrative device. He addressed the situation with respect for Reed as a performer and as a person, and he made it clear that the expectation and the hope is that Bronson Reed will return to Raw when the time is right and when his body is fully prepared. That is the message that came through. This is not the end of the story. This is a chapter, a painful and difficult chapter, but a chapter nonetheless. And the next one, whenever it comes, is going to be worth waiting for. Because here is the thing about Bronson Reed that separates him from a lot of performers who go through injury setbacks. This man has already proven that he can come back. He has already proven that adversity does not define him. His career path to this point has not been a straight line. There have been twists and detours and moments where the opportunity seemed to slip away. And every single time, Reed found a way to claw back, to rebuild, to return with something to prove and the skills to prove it. That resilience is part of who he is, and it is one of the reasons why the investment that fans have made in him feels so meaningful. You are not just cheering for a character. You are cheering for a person who embodies the spirit of fighting through whatever life throws at you. There is also something deeply compelling about the way this announcement plays into the larger narrative of what professional wrestling represents at its best. Because wrestling, when it is done right, is a reflection of the human experience. It is triumph and failure, perseverance and pain, community and isolation. And right now, in this moment, the wrestling world is experiencing that very real emotional reality through the news about Bronson Reed. The storylines will continue. The championships will be contested. The rivalries will burn bright. But somewhere behind all of it, there is a man doing the hard work of recovery, putting in the unseen hours, pushing through the frustration and the uncertainty that comes with being an elite athlete dealing with a serious injury. And when he comes back, and he will come back, that story is going to resonate on a level that no scripted promo ever could. The Raw roster itself is going to feel the absence too. When you remove a presence as commanding as Bronson Reed from the equation, it creates a gap that cannot simply be filled by rearranging the card. The dynamics shift. The balance of power changes. Other superstars will step into opportunities that might not have existed otherwise, and that is just the nature of the business. But there is always a version of the story where Reed's return becomes the moment that reshapes everything, where he walks back through that curtain and the crowd loses their collective mind and everything that has happened in his absence suddenly becomes the backdrop for the greatest comeback of his career. That is the vision. That is what every wrestling fan worth their salt is holding on to right now. What makes this story even more poignant is thinking about the matches that were likely in the pipeline, the feuds that were being built, the moments that were being planned. In professional wrestling, timing is everything. Windows of opportunity can be fleeting, and momentum, once lost, can be incredibly difficult to rebuild. But the creative landscape of a show like Raw is also fluid and ever-changing, and the right creative team can use a returning superstar's absence to build an even more powerful comeback story than what would have existed otherwise. The hope is that when the time comes, the stage is set not just for Reed to return, but for him to return in a way that feels massive and earned and emotionally satisfying for everyone who has been waiting. And while we wait, the wrestling world keeps spinning. Raw will continue to produce moments, rivalries will continue to develop, and the show will go on because the show always goes on. That is the relentless nature of professional wrestling. But tonight, and in the days and weeks ahead, a part of the conversation always circles back to the big man who is not there, the Titanic who is temporarily out of the water, and the question on everyone's mind of when and how he will make his return. The answer, for now, is patience. And for those of us who have invested in Bronson Reed's journey, that patience comes from a place of genuine care and genuine belief. Because everything that this man has shown us about who he is as a performer and as a competitor tells us that he is not going to come back at less than his best. He is going to come back at his peak, with fire in his eyes and something to prove, and he is going to remind everyone exactly why he is one of the most compelling forces in professional wrestling today. So here is where we leave it. Adam Pearce made an announcement that stopped Raw in its tracks and sent a wave of emotion through the wrestling world. Bronson Reed is sidelined, and that is genuinely painful news. But this is not the end. It is a pause. And when the pause is over, when that music hits and that massive presence walks back through the curtain, every single person watching is going to remember this moment as the valley before the mountain. And that mountain, when Reed climbs it, is going to look absolutely incredible. If this story hit you the way it hit us, do us a favor and drop a comment down below. Tell us what you think about Bronson Reed's future on Raw. Tell us what kind of return moment you want to see when he comes back. We read every single comment and we love hearing from this community. If you are not subscribed to Wrestling Impact yet, now is the time, because we are here every single day bringing you the stories, the analysis, and the passion that this sport deserves. Hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and we will see you in the next one. This has been Wrestling Impact. Stay passionate, stay invested, and never stop loving this sport.